So, hello, my name is Urszula Sołogub, and that's pretty much my debut with a presentation on a meetup. So, yeah, first time, be gentle to me. I'd like to show you my journey through the research to the feature that I wrote using AI that was actually useful, so a rare thing for an AI. So, yeah, let's talk about an AI-assisted data extraction. So, first of all, the client came to me and told me that there is an issue and someone needs to solve it and make a research. He told me that we are making an integration with some external service and that we are going to send them a data in the JSON format. Okay, simple as that. Like most web developers do that, we are sending data through JSON. Okay, but there's another thing. The data that we are going to send is not really represented in the database. So how are we actually going to send that? Well, it seems like the data we are looking for is not stored actually in the database, but in the files that the users are sending to us. And those files are like very complex reports in usually PDF or doc format, and they are containing all the information we need. So here's a challenge. We have data that is in unstructured format because some of those files are like very short but dense with a knowledge, and others are long with tons and tons of text. So how am I actually going to extract data from the file that is not structured? So I started to do my research. So like the first thing that we are feeling when we are trying to extract the data from the PDF, especially in Ruby on Rails, is to look for some gem that maybe can do that. So yeah, the first thing that I did was to look for a gem. I found, for example, PDF Reader, and I immediately started to test if it will work for my case. And of course not, because the data is unstructured, and those gems usually focus on the structured data. So if I don't know any keys, if I don't know the names of the attributes, how am I going to retrieve that data? So I know that this is a no-go. So I started to look for another type of tools. So I started to research any cloud tools that I could find. And the first thing that I saw was Adobe PDF Extract API. And well, this was a great tool, but not for that case again, because it could provide me a lot of details and translate like figures and images and the actual text to the JSON format, but still I didn't know keys, I didn't know structure, so there's no way to go from here. And the next thing was Google Cloud Document AI, and this tool was much better. So I was somewhere because this one actually could match keys and values, and I could retrieve some data, and it did pretty well. But it had two disadvantages. First of all, as you can see, not always it was retrieving data correctly. And for example, here we have one question that couldn't be really matched with a key, with a value. So sometimes some values went missing. Sometimes keys were mixed with values. And for example, we have key matched with another key, and that didn't make sense at all. Well, the biggest disadvantage is that still I know what are the names of the JSON keys that I'm looking for, but still all those keys that we are having in that file are not keys. And I don't know if a user that uploads a report is going to call the field exactly the way I want. So I cannot really use that tool for that case. But we are going somewhere. That's not quite what we are looking for, but some progress is being made. So when I was discussing with my teammates, what can we do about that? Someone said, how about trying AI? Because AI is, well, a great thing to do that, to extract data. It sounds like a perfect use case. So we had an idea to dig in. So when I was looking for any kind of tool that could help me to retrieve data specifically from PDFs or different types of documents, first thing I saw in the internet was ChatPDF, which is basically a ChatGPT but with PDFs. You upload a file and then you can talk with chatbot about its content. You can ask questions, and as you can see on the example, when I started to ask for a summarization, that some PDF will example school rules for some school in UK. First I asked to summarize them, and when I saw that, wow, it can summarize them, then I wanted to have the data in the JSON format, and well, it did that. It sent me a JSON, so that means that's somehow usable, and maybe I can do something with that. So yeah, later also I learned that ChatGPT has very similar feature, and I didn't need to find a specific tool, ChatPDF. Also ChatGPT can do that, and you can send a PDF and they can answer questions. So shortly about ChatPDF, I could ask any questions about any document. I had the free API access, which is limited, of course, in a free tier, but well, I could play with that and see where do we go. And AI was smart enough to send the response in a JSON format. So I started to prepare a proof of concept to show client what can we do and decide if we want to work on that. So I wrote a typical Ruby service, and well, the implementation was very simple because the biggest challenge was to ask a question. I just had to upload a comment and then create a prompt. So I asked, I need you to create a JSON out of this file. If you cannot find a value for a specific key, just use a null value. Please answer with JSON only, with no human sentences and without any markdown code bloat wrapping. And that's important because, well, AI isn't always smart and sometimes it's very crazy. And in most cases, when I was looking for a correct prompt, it was responding with actual JSON. But then all of a sudden, it decided that, nope, not just JSON. We are going to wrap that into array or code block or whatever. And well, it's difficult to parse a JSON if it's wrapped in something and you don't know what that is. So that was important. I also specified what kind of dates do I want. Then do not wrap the JSON into any kind of array, just use keys and values, and those are the keys and the JSON that those are the keys the JSON needs to consist. And later I just took all the columns without a few excluded ones and listed them directly from the database, and then I also created a model, and then I had methods that were having a definition. So for example, well, we need to, when we are having questions, we also, especially if that's something very specific for any specialist kind of question, we need to provide also a definition, because AI can answer things, but it's not always smart enough to understand what context we are looking for. So if I had any question that was not self-explanatory, I also provided a method which contained a description of the field, and then I provided also an explanation to the AI. So I was surprised with the results because it worked very well. Like, here's a very short part of the form, and I was working on a document that wasn't really full with data, but when fields were present, it was working. So, for example, I had a date. I asked that I want a date in a specific format, and it did that. I was asking about, for example, number of bedrooms, and here we have an integer. I was asking for specific things, such as, for example, here, property style, and yeah, that makes sense. And all of those data made sense. They weren't made up. They were extracted from the PDF. So yeah, we are going somewhere, and we are having great results so far. But then clients came to me with another challenge. So the data that we were trying to extract were actually pretty sensitive, and we couldn't really upload them anywhere. And ChatPDF wasn't really straight with the policy how it processes the data. And if we couldn't get information, how are they processing data, and make sure that, for example, they aren't using that to, for example, train some AI, then we cannot really upload those files. Okay, too bad. So I need to start my research over. And then another teammate told that we can actually achieve very similar results, but with different kind of tool. And here we have AWS Bedrock. And so client gave me accesses, and I started to play a little bit with AWS Bedrock. And I was surprised that we found a tool, or maybe a set of tools, very complex set of tools, that is doing everything that we need, and still that's very simple. And here I have another short example when I am testing a little bit AWS Bedrock. So I could choose a model because it has different foundations models. Actually, we can do a lot of customization in the AWS Bedrock and specify what are our goals and do we want to achieve. And here I was just playing with the playground. So I asked a few questions, and then I asked to summarize in a JSON format the PDF, and it did that. Once again, we are going somewhere. We are getting some great responses. So about AWS Bedrock, that's a service that offers an access to the leading AI models. Different models can do different things, and they can process text, just like, for example, ChatGPT, but also some models can process also images, and some are also capable, for example, to process documents. So there are different models, and they are great for different purposes. And here we have also advanced customization options, and that depends how big our budget is, because great corporations can use the AWS Bedrock for very, very customized experiences, but also we, as just simple users, maybe, we can very cheaply develop solutions that are working just great. And about pricing, we are paying for what we use, so this can really be cheap. And what is the most important thing for us is the privacy, because we are having sensitive documents, and AWS Bedrock makes sure that the files are not shared with anyone, they are not processed on the server, and after the processing in terms of working with AI is completed, then they are not saving it anywhere. Of course, we can also use our buckets of S3, but that's an optional thing. If we don't want to store our file anywhere, we don't have to. So even more about Bedrock, there are different foundation models. So here are some examples that are accessible in Europe, and well, they are very different. And immediately after I got my accesses to the Bedrock, I started to research and to learn how the things are working. And I just started to choose some random models and see what they can do. And for example, here we have a Titan by Amazon, and this one is not the smartest tool in the shell. But also we have, for example, Llama by Meta. And this one had some problems. It was behaving much better than Titan, but for example, it wasn't having enough memory, and sometimes it just couldn't handle too long JSON responses. But also we have Cloud by Anthropic, and those are two like the greatest, the most advanced models. So yeah, the variety is very big, and we can use them for different purposes. And for example, Titan couldn't really be used in our case because it doesn't really support, for example, document processing or even processing of the images. So it's just for text purposes. So I started to play a little bit in the chat playground, and I asked two different models the same question, and I wanted to compare how they are behaving. And on the left we have Cloud 3 Sonnet, which is like the most expensive one, but also the most complex, the most advanced model. And on the right we have the Titan by Amazon, as I said, not the smartest. And I wanted them to complete some small task, like a very easy one, because that's just writing a bubble sort algorithm in C. So something that we can all easily find on Stack Overflow, but also I wanted to add a little bit of a complexity, and I wanted them to adjust that a little bit to show an example that works. So I asked the question, and now I am playing a movie, so you can see that it is And after some time, Sonnet provided the answer first, and as you can see, it's complex, and it actually does what I asked for, because here we have a bubble sort with all the explanations, and then we have a Titan which says, sorry, nope. So yeah, that's a big difference. Also, when I was playing around for a little bit, I saw that Cloud 300 most questions very well, while Titan, even when I asked them for like hello world, the response was, I'm not able to provide you a code with hello world, but here is a code in Python that does that. So, okay, it was very confused. And yeah, exploring AWS more in terms of Bedrock, I started to learn to understand how the customization works and how can I use that for my specific use case. So first of all, when we are having a playground in the AWS console, we are also having a set of data that is customizable. And for example, here in the system prompts field, I told AI that you need to behave like a horse. So answer only in horse language. And I wanted to see if they actually behave like a horse. So here you can see it. I said hello, and it was like. So the system prompt is used to provide a context, instruction, guidelines, and we can define how AI is supposed to behave like and how it is supposed to respond. So for example, we can say you are a JSON parser, parse something from the PDF that the user provides, or you are a, I don't know, some kind of assistant and answer only in a professional language. And yeah, it just will work. So also we have another values that we can change, and I was doing that here. And another value is a temperature, which can range from 0 to 1. And the temperature and all the other metrics are very much about the diversity of the language that the bot is going to use. So if we are having a temperature set to a very low value, then we are making sure that the language is not going to be very diverse, and less words are going to be used. That's because the AI, when it's generating the response, it selects a word, and then the next word has, to generate the next word, the AI has a set of words that have different kinds of possibilities to appear, and it doesn't just choose the most, the one with the biggest chance, but it chooses a random one from a few that are having the biggest chances. So if I'm making the temperature low, I'm making sure that where less options are available. So yeah, also I have an example here to show the point. And when I set the temperature to 0, I was asking questions, and you can see that all of the answers that the AI has provided to me when I was saying just hello, they are very similar. They are always starting with hello, I am an AI assistant, and then sometimes the answers differ, sometimes the responses are the same. So yeah, low temperature means that only answers with a very high probability are being chosen. So when we are setting the temperature to 1, which is a maximum value, then you can see that I'm still asking the same question, maybe not question, I'm just saying hello, and the response is suddenly very different. Previously, all the answers were almost the same, but now we have like, hello, how can I assist you today? Hello again, I'm an AI assistant. Hello, it's nice to meet you. So they are very different. Yeah, to summarize, high temperature means that the responses are going to be much more diverse, and there are just the less possible tokens are also in the pool of the words that are going to be chosen. So next we have another difference. They are top P and top K, and I've set them both to low, and they are also about the words diversity. So top P means that we are choosing, when it is low, only the words with the highest chance, and top K means how many words do we want to choose. So when we are having top P set to 0.1, it means that only the top 10% are going to be chosen, and top K means that only one word is going to be taken into an account. So when I'm having those values set to very low value, then I'm asking a question, what's your favorite word? And I'm asking that 3 times, and we can see that it answers only with one word, serendipity. Also, I said in system prompts to answer with only one word, but I mean the word is the same in all of the cases. Yeah, so top P is the percentage of the most probable words, so when it is low, it is less diverse, and top K means the amount of the most probable words, so low means less words are available. So let's set those values to the highest possible value. And now when we are asking what's your favorite word, it's not serendipity always anymore. First we have intriguing, then curiosity, and then serendipity. So suddenly the answers are very different and much more diverse. So well, those are the most important settings, but also we can choose the maximum length, and well, the bot just cannot answer with any response that is bigger than the value we are setting. We have stop sequences, and that means that if we type a word, let's say for example cloud, because cloud is the name of the model, and if we ask them a question, what's your name? So if we set the stop sequence to cloud, when they would like to answer hello, my name is Cloud, they will just respond with my name is, and then it cuts. And also we have some settings about guardrail. I wasn't really digging into that because that wasn't the case. This one is about restricting what can be actually said by the bot. If we would like to add some moderation and, for example, make sure that no racist or no curse words are said by a bot, we can set the guardrail. But I cannot really provide you more details because that wasn't really helpful for data extraction, so yeah. And when we are playing in the AWS Bedrock playground, also after sending each message, we have model metrics. So we can control how many tokens are we using for input and for output. So for example, here I sent a message, generate an example JSON, and you can see only 19 tokens were used, so that's not much. And then I had an example JSON, and this message was quite long, so the token count was over 700. Token is, it isn't really represented by a word or by a characters, but usually it's around 6 characters. Yeah, it is a metric used to determine how much it is going to cost us to well, have a dialogue with an AI. So when we are knowing things already, how they are working, then we can develop our API and communicate through our application with the Bedrock. Yeah, I wanted to add QR codes because I feel like those are very valuable to Ruby developers. The first thing is Converse API documentation, because for some reason Amazon wasn't really having much like the documentation for Ruby on Rails for any SDK wasn't really visible. So if you would like to develop an application in Ruby on Rails and to connect to Bedrock through API, then yeah, maybe this QR code may make you spend less time on searching for that. And also another one is Anthropic documentation, which is very useful because Converse API documentation is poor, like really poor, and it is lacking of examples, and I felt like that was the only source resource that I could find to develop that. So yeah, Anthropic documentation is specific for Anthropic models, and it's not really the same thing as Converse API, but it describes tools which are not described in Converse API at all. So those two are very useful in the development, and I will show you the details about the implementation and what was the result. So first of all, when I was developing an actual feature, I, once again, wrote a service in Ruby on Rails. So I will explain it shortly. First of all, we are building a conversation, and then when we are having it built, we are sending a message to the bedrock, and if everything is fine, we are saving answers and returning an information that is fine, and if it's not, then we just say that we couldn't generate a response for some reason. And yet again, another important thing is to remember that error handling is, well, important, because often those models are not available and they are under the maintenance very often, so it's important to tell the users that for some reason it is not working now, but maybe if you come back in 30 minutes, that's not your fault that it didn't work. Maybe Amazon was just doing stuff. So also I'd like to explain about build conversation model, and it contains 3 another methods: build messages, conversation settings, and conversation tools. And basically it represents the prompt in a JSON format with all the data that we are going to send to the bedrock. So let's start with the settings, because those are the simplest. So I choose Cloud 3 Haiku model. Basically, I wanted to focus on Cloud 3, first of all, because it could handle documents, and second of all, because it has a feature that other models are just not having, which are tools, and I'll explain them later. And Cloud 3, I was able to choose from 2 models, Haiku and Sonnet. And as I said before, Sonnet is quite pricey, so for the proof of concept, for maybe testing, I wanted to first start with something simpler and later decide if the results are satisfying. And here we have a configuration. I set temperature to 0 because we are going to extract data, so there's no need for diverse information. We just want information that are black and white. They're in the PDF, and we don't want any complicated language. We just want to take something from the PDF and have it in the response. So there's no need for diversity. And also top P means only that the words with probability over 60% are going to be taken into an account. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we are extracting things and not not writing stories or whatever the AI would do. So the the method build messages, this one is another simple thing. So I am just going to make a very general, well, prompt to AI. So I said that parse this PDF and save the structured data, use null values for missing values. If unknown values are provided, you must use them or leave a field with a null value. And yeah, unknown values. That's something that I also explain along with the tools. But overall, we are going to have a few drop-downs on the form, and we would like to make AI choose from one of those values. So that's what we are going to use them for. And also, I asked to use dates in the following format. And no more explanation were really needed, because we are going to use tools to send the questions in the details. So that's what the third method, conversation tools, is going to be about. So this one may be a little bit more complicated, but if you scan the QR code, then you have specifically Anthropic documentation for tools. And as I saw, they can be they are very full of variety about how we can use them. And I decided to use them to extract PDF. So I named the tool extract PDF to survey, and I had a description what the tool does. So the description is it extracts the PDF. And then I had to provide an input schema. And that's the most important thing, because here we are going to define all the questions and all the descriptions. So yeah, so AI can parse this data. So I'm having another method, which is build question properties. And here is actually when the magic happens, because we are having each question from the database, and then we are giving them unique keys. And for example, let's say that we have a question about dog, and we have a key called dog. But if we just ask AI dog, it has no clue what we are asking for. Do we want to have extracted data about the species, or about the color of the fur, or about the name of a dog, or about the presence of the dog? It doesn't know. So it will respond with something, well, stupid. But we can also provide a description. So here we see it in the hash. And here we are providing the description that we are having in a database. So if the key is dog, we can specify here that tell me if the dog is, for example, yellow, and also we can define a type where that must be in the JSON schema type. So for example, we would like to have a Boolean question with a response for is dog present? So yes or no only can be chosen by AI. Or we can say if the dog is present, and then we can choose a bool. Or we can say what color is the dog, and then we can choose a string, and we will make sure that it responds with a string. And also below the hash, you can see that we are having another key, and that's specifically from the enums that I've mentioned before. So yeah, as I said, we had also a separate category for dropdowns. So I can pass an enum with possible answers. And well, this one is tricky, because I can send them, and often AI decides to use them, but I cannot really force it. So if I'm having a drop-down with, for example, answers A, B, C, D, in most cases, oh, the presentation is missing. In most cases, it will use those values, but sometimes it will just provide some kind of a synonym. And well, we just have to handle that somehow. Okay, we are back. No problem. So that's all about the implementation. And actually, that was yet again very simple. More complex than chat PDF, but also we are having more specific answers. So I'll explain how the prompt that we are sending through the in the JSON format to the Converse API, and then it talks with Bedrock, how it looks like. So we have messages, then we have a message that comes from user, so us, and we are saying that you need to parse this PDF. Then we are choosing a model, and I said that's the Cloud 3 Haiku. We have a configuration, then we have a tool configuration. That's where the magic happens. So we are specifying a tool. And about tools, that's a very powerful tool in terms of Anthropic model. And we can use them in very different use cases. So for example, we can create a set of tools, and for example, one is going to be responsible to tell the weather, another tell the time, and you can also define here in the code that you need to choose which one is the most suitable to achieve the goals. And when we are having a dialogue between a bot and a user, then it will provide answers depending on the tool, and it will choose which one is the most suitable. But here we are having just one tool, and we have very specific type of the response, so yeah, no need to create any other tool. Yeah, we are having properties with the rules, and we have a set of questions here. So we are having a few questions. Yet again, we are using the PDF that was about the rules of the school in the UK. So we are asking about some questions. We are asking some questions that are related to that document. So I have one: what are the school rules? Summarize them, and I want a string as a response. Then we have a bullying. Is bullying forbidden? Another string. It may consist an enum with values yes, no, or perhaps. Rules creation year, and I'd like here a string, and the question is in what year were the regulations created, Brighton Road danger, how dangerous is the Brighton Road, and again we have enum with no danger, low danger, dangerous, or extremely dangerous, and the last question is cycling forbidden, and we have a string as an answer. Also, in the last line we are just defining which tool do we want to have used, and that's extract PDF to survey. And then we have a response that comes from the Bedrock API, yet another one. We have output with a message, and this time the role is assistant because that's the response from a chatbot. We have a content with a tool that we've used, so that's extract PDF to survey. And here the AI provided as answers for all the questions with all the keys that we've provided. So Brighton Road danger, the answer for that is it is a dangerous road. We have a bullying, and we had the possible answers provided in the enum format, yes, no, or perhaps, so it said yes, so the bullying is forbidden. Cycling forbidden, and here we have a free text, so in a string format. So AI extracted from the document that bicycles are not to be ridden in the school grounds except when coming or leaving the school. And there was another question about summarizing the rules, so it's summarized, and here we have a short summarization of a document that was like 12 pages in PDF. Also, we have a stop reason. Those can be very different. This one is tool used because the communication ended because the tool was used. But also the stop reason can, for example, be the stop sequence. So as I said, when we are defining questions that the words that are ending the conversation, then it can be a stop reason. The token usage can be a stop reason if you are using too much tokens, and we have a defined policy that there's a limit, but also just a natural ending of a conversation when we are just chatting with each other. So that also can be a stop reason. And we also have a metrics about the usages and about the latency. So we know that it took around 5 seconds to have a response. And what is important also, input tokens were like 9,000, but output tokens were only about 200. And in terms of pricing, how pricey it is, so here we have a pricing for, as I said, Haiku model. This one is actually for US East, but the prices are the same in all the regions. So we had Cloud 3 Haiku, and we can see that we have like 3 zeros after the decimal point, and that's for 1,000 input tokens. We had 9,000 tokens, so that's 0.0023 for input. And you can see that also tokens that are from output are more expensive, but using the tools allowed us to reduce the amount of the output tokens. So there are not much of them, just 200. So that's $0.0003. So that means that to have the extracted document with the rules of the school, which was, like I said, around 12 pages, we had to pay like a quarter of a cent. So that's just nothing. That's almost for free. So I also would like to show you like a short demo with a result, and you can see that this thing is actually working. So still we are using that PDF with the rules, and once I clicked extract, we are waiting for a result, and then we have it. So it takes around 5 seconds. And then here's a question about school rules. We have a summarization, we have drop-downs, and the values from the enum values were used. And also we have some free text, and those make sense. Yeah, like the report was created in 2023, and the answers were actually included in the form. Oops. Yeah, so that's everything. So thank you so much for your attention. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so it seems like what you wanted is called structured output in the ChatGPT terms. Have you considered using something like LangChain?
Not really. To be honest, I'm not really having any knowledge about AI, neither the blockchain. Yeah, those tools were very simple to learn, but I would need to do a lot, much more of research to to achieve that.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.